Hiya, it's Hannah the Artisan Duck and I'm back today with a polymer clay tutorial for this really cute and easy square heart cane. So let's get started. Right, for my hearts I'm just using this small heart cutter and I'm going to use this square cutter just as a little bit of a guide once I'm ready to put my colourful heart in the navy clay surround. So I've already done a few in different colours, so they're going to look like this initially, and all I've done is I've mixed up my clay colours because I wanted them to be like pastel coloured hearts, and this is just put through number 1 on my clay machine, and I'm just going to start by punching out 6 hearts. I have done this idea before of using like cookie cutters to make a cane, and I did a flower cane, and that was just on my blog. I haven't ever put that on YouTube, and I literally used the cutter to make quite a chunky flower shape. So instead of cutting like thin pieces, I cut a big piece, but because this heart cutter is quite small and sort of very angular, especially at the bottom at that point, the clay just gets stuck inside. So I'm going to cut out individual hearts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, and then that one didn't want to play. Come on, there we go. And I'm just going to stack them up, and this cutting shape seems a little bit blunt, but we're just going with it because it's what I've got. So I'm now going to just position them so they're all stacked, one on top of the other, like that. And I'll come back and neaten up that little rough edge in a minute. That's the third. The fourth. And obviously because it's clay, you can sort of move it with your fingers, make sure it's lined up as well as you can. That's the fifth. And then the last one here. Like that. I'm just going to push them together, and you can see I've got a line there, and that's where my cutting shape, sort of the shape overlaps down here. So I'm just going to put that down. Seem very far away today, like that. And I'm just going to take my flexible blade. This is my favourite for detailed work, and I'm just going to skim off the edge there, like that. Just gets rid of that sort of extra piece that was sticking out, and then just go along with my finger and smooth out any sharp points if there are any. But once we reduce this down, you're not going to see that anyway now, especially because we've removed the excess at the side. So the next thing we've got is a chunk of navy, and I've made this, it's roughly the same height as my 6 hearts stacked up like that. So that's all conditioned and ready to go. I'm just going to take my heart cutter and put it in the middle and push it down. You might, because I have an acrylic block here, I'm going to use this to push it down because going through all that clay is quite tough, and you need to make sure you're right through to the other side so that when you push it, you've really made a clear cut through. This clay in the middle is just going to be put to one side, fished out that cutting shape and put to one side, and I'm just going to pull it out if I can, like that. Give it a wiggle. There we go. And you can see the clay's in there, and that's given me a nice clear heart shape. So all I'm going to do now is take my blade, and I'm going to cut right at the point of that heart like that, and then we're going to bring in our pastel blue heart and pop it into the center like that. And then you're just going to match up the edge pieces, make sure it's positioned nicely front and back. Let's just squeeze it back together. You can see now we've got a little light blue heart in a dark blue surround. So this is where I just use this as a guide. I want to cut this down to take some of the bulk off. So I'm just going to position, I need to just check it's not too far off, position that cutting shape, and I'm just going to very lightly press it down. I just want to get an impression. It's just giving me a guide for my lines as to where to cut, and I'm just going to make sure that's not got too many air bubbles. And then I'm going to go in with my bigger blade, and I like to check front and back because it looks slightly bigger at the front than the back, so I do keep turning it over to check what I'm doing. And I'm going to take my blade and just cut around. If you cut a little too much off, you can always squeeze it back on like that and then go back in for another cut. But just check front and back so the point is still covered on the front and the back. And I shall go round, and the idea is I want to make this pretty much the same size as the other hearts that I've already made. So I'm just going to go away and finish this and come back when I've got all 5 of them ready to go. Right, so there's all my hearts completed, and I've just put them together so you can see how all the colours look together. I'm just going to move those off to the side, and I'm just going to reduce this one down now. And we want to keep the square shape. I'm just going to use my fingers just to squeeze around for a minute. I want to make sure there's no air. I also need to be careful not to distort it too much as well. Just take your time with this bit. Just need to make it longer. And I'm going to go in with my little acrylic block. I know you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm just going to press it gently because I really want to maintain that square shape. So I'm just going to keep flipping it round and pressing it down. Like that. And I'm literally going to keep working on this using a combination of the acrylic block and then just picking it up and making sure that I'm not distorting it at all. Because it's still looking like a heart, which is always a relief. And just keep going until I've got enough to cut it into some sections. So I'm going to go away, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to do all 5 of them, but I shall come back when I'm ready to cut them in pieces. Right, so I've reduced all those down, and they're now 20 centimetres long, so I can cut each one into 5 2-centimetre pieces because I want to make it a 5 by 5 stack of hearts. So I've got my little measure here. I'm going to go along and cut them all up, and I shall come back and show you when I come to assemble it. Right, there we go. They are looking pretty cute, I have to say. It worked really nicely. So I've cut them all into my 2-centimetre pieces, and I'm going to stack them now. So I'm going to do 5 across and 5 rows. I have actually a little chart off to the side. I've worked out sort of how the colours might look together. So I'm going to go ahead and stack those, and I'm literally just going to start at number 1, which for me is a green, and the next one is a blue. And I'm just going to position them so they are, you know, front and back matching up, and hope that when I finished I've got a nice little square. It's a pink, I need a yellow, and obviously these bits are just the ends. I didn't quite cut off all the scrap clay. And then my last in this row here is a purple. Kind of wish I'd got more of a colour difference between the green and the blue. I think it's probably clearer in real life than it is on the camera. But you know, I'm not going to let that ruin it for me. So my next row is a yellow at the beginning, like that. I made sure that my yellow and green were different enough because I was worried about them looking too similar, and I managed that one quite nicely. And then we've got a purple. Yeah, that's a purple. And then after the purple we have got a green. So I'm going to continue to stack this, probably do a little fast forwarded section or something, because I think it'll be tedious watching me make sure it's all evenly lined up, and I shall come back when I've done it. There we go, that is all stacked up, and you can see it's quite large now. And I think if I was to cut pieces out of that for earrings, you're only going to get like a few hearts, and I really want to make my jewellery pieces with lots of little hearts all over it. So again, I'm going to start reducing this cane. I'm going to squeeze it to squash the air out. You can even see straight through it on some of these little points like that. So I'm just going to start really carefully, just squeeze the sides just to get that air out. And I really need to keep this square shape, so I'm going to put it on my surface as well and just go in and reinforce that shape with my acrylic block. And honestly, anything with like a flat surface would do this for you. It doesn't have to be a block. And I'm going to go off and just continue to take my time reducing this down. I don't want to rush it after all that work. You want to make sure that you are maintaining the shape of the hearts. Yeah, so I'm going to go and do that, and I shall come back when I've done it. There we go, that cane is all reduced, and I've already cut the end off because I was filming a TikTok, you know, as you do. So I've not made it super long, but it's long enough now to cut slices and to make some jewellery with. I also, you know, the hearts are getting quite tiny now. You probably can't tell the scale through the camera, but you know, if I was to put this heart cutter in, you can see it doesn't even fill that cutter. So I'm going to take little slices from this. I have let this rest now for a little bit because it was getting quite sticky. I've rolled out some clay. It's the same dark blue that I've wrapped my hearts in. So I'm simply going to take slices of this, lay it onto that dark blue, and make myself some jewellery pieces. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I shall come back and show you the finished pieces. Right, so just popping back to show you sort of an example of the type of jewellery I've made. This isn't all of it. I have tons of it because it's going to go on my Etsy shop. But this is sort of how I've used it. So I've made little pendant necklaces, a selection of earrings in different sizes, like little heart earrings, circles, some bigger drops, some little ones like that. And then I've also, and I really love these, I made little studs. I think they're really cute. And then I've also made some slightly bigger statement earrings, and you can see once those pieces are all laid down, I sort of rolled over to smooth them out, and now you can't tell that they're in little sections. Really love how this turned out. It's actually sort of better than I'd hoped it would be. And then I've made these sort of other dangle earrings. I have a video which I will link to show how I embed these earring backs. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. I have. I really love how this turned out. Yep, so I should put any links below that you might need. Yeah, but anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.